06:45. Just going to have a coffee and get ready for the base jumpers. They're up early to get the sunrise jumping, which from what I've seen is pretty spectacular, so I'm looking forward to that. There was quite a lot more of them than I expected. I was not expecting there to be so many, which is a good thing because it shows the sport's doing well. One of the prerequisites for base jumping is a lot of vertical, like a lot of vertical, which the south of France has in abundance, as you can see here. So doing this sort of stuff takes me to some pretty amazing places and meet some pretty amazing people. Some that I've met before, some that have become friends new. And if you like exploring and people watching, then base jumping is a pretty good thing to go and spectate. The group cohesion is strong. There's a really interesting mix of different characters that all come together in the name of this sport. There's a lot of joking around and the mood is kept light. However, up onto the bridge and things start to get a little bit more serious. Even just standing on this bridge gives me the jitters. When you get a big heavy go past HGV, it rattles the bridge. So I can't imagine what these guys must feel like, standing on the edge, ready to jump off. It's a long old walk. The further you go, the higher it gets, until you get to the centre, which is high enough to jump from and has a nice landing area for these guys to practice their craft without having to worry about landing in trees, rivers or other things. Dan's a veteran base jumper, world champion, and he does a good job of looking after these guys. Wind checks, final kit checks, and giving the guys the thumbs up ready to jump.
Doing a lot, is it? Slightly right to left, but not too much. Anyone going handheld, just be aware that riding on pilots is to be done off you. That camera. You go downhill, you pilot it, the rider's going that way, that's up in your camera. Due for it?
Final kit checks, pre-jump ritual of all hands in, and it's go time.
Ready? We go 3, 2, 1, see ya!
Yes! And it's times like this that I'm glad that I can just debadge my tap cat, because they don't often get trouble from police on here. It's fairly reasonable, but I wouldn't want to be
broadcasting who I am and where I'm from, which is a shame really, but it is what it is. Pretty amazing location. You can just see the guys down there. Why base jumping is a really good place to go for ex-military guys, because it ticks that adrenaline rush box and you get that camaraderie between the people that do it, which sort of meshes with what you feel like you're missing out on when you do leave the military. The camaraderie, the adrenaline, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, pretty impressive to watch, and hopefully more to come, and everyone goes about their business safely.
Is that you, Adam? Hello. Hey! Right, John. Lovely that, John. Hey? Lovely that, mate. I told you I'm going to get it wrong now. I don't know what I'm sticking on.
On this trip, the base jumpers did go about their business safely, but the same can't be said for my drone, which sadly malfunctioned mid-air. Fortunately, it limped its way back down to the drop zone, made its way back up with the base jumpers. I jumped in the landy and went back to collect, and it was on my way down that I had my first negative experience with my Land Rover. I learnt that it has the turning circle of a canal boat. And then performed open heart surgery on the drone to see if its life could be saved. And it was at this point that I realised there was no saving this drone. It had a miniature fire on the cable that attached a gimbal to the rest of the motherboard. So, with my drone having died a death, must have set on fire mid-air, there's worse places to be waiting for the delivery of my new drone. And one thing about this place is it's pretty stunning. It's absolutely amazing. You can see why the base jumpers come back here really frequently. Not only because the objects are really useful for them and in abundance, but also because it's just a really nice place. So one thing that I do think is worth mentioning is the temptation to stay parked down here for the night. Even though it looks really idyllic to camp in somewhere like this, it does look like there's not been any water come through here for a long time, but there's always telltale signs. And if you look at the trees, you've got all this stuff here. It's even a little bit damp still. This has got there through flooding, and that's over 6 foot high. So you can imagine it'd take an exceptional amount of water to be coming through here to raise the river this much. And I really wouldn't want to be parked here when that happens. And it doesn't have to be raining either. So if it's raining way further up the valley and all that water comes off the valley but miles away, it can still create a flood further down. Don't get caught short just because it's really shallow here. I mean, it's probably only knee deep all the way across, but it is very wide. I'm also not driving too far away from where I need to get out, which isn't the easiest way out either. But luckily I'm in a Discovery, so it shouldn't struggle. I didn't just stay out in the countryside though. I went for a drive in the town of Millau. What it wasn't compatible with was with my Land Rover Discovery 3, where I learnt that not only did it turn like a canal boat, it was as wide as one too. I made my way back to the B&B where the base jumpers were staying. I hadn't yet asked Dan about what the elephant that featured in so many of his base jumps, well, every one of his base jumps, what it meant. Why was it there? What was the purpose of this elephant.
So, back in England, I tend to do a lot of solo jumps. Solo is obviously on your own, but the thing is, I'm never actually on my own. I've always got someone with me helping, and here he is. This is Koleshaker, isn't it, Koleshaker? Isn't it? Yes. Say hello. Hello. Yes. So, me and Koleshaker, we're actually a team. He's the looks and I'm the brains. Or am I the looks and he's the... Anyway, we're a good team. And it's always good to have a second opinion on jumps. You know, so even though I'm on my own, I'm not actually on my own. Yeah, I can't be trusted on my own. No, I can't even be trusted with the remote control for the TV most of the time. So, no. He was actually a present from the Viking. She obviously recognised that I needed someone to look after me, and so Koleshaker arrived. He's been on the scene now for 21 years, I think it is. 21 years, over 2,000 base jumps. Without a doubt, the most experienced base jumping elephant in the world. He makes all the best decisions. If he says it's no go, we climb down. Absolutely, yeah. But it seems to have worked out so far, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, eh? He's gone bald though over the years. He used to have some hair, but I might send him to Turkey. Yeah, he wasn't too keen on the wingsuiting though. When we got into that, I say he wasn't too keen on the wingsuiting. No. No. I think the main thing was I had to put him in my pocket in my suit, and he couldn't actually see where we were going, so he wasn't happy. But yeah. But he was good on the decision making on whether to jump or not. So, but I think he was actually quite relieved when we decided to take a step back from the wingsuiting, because that was always going to end badly. It usually does.
Been a long old wait for the drone. It's really set me back by about 5 days, and now I've got a nice new drone. So finishing up with the base jumpers, I've just said my goodbyes, and it's time to get back on the road and head for northern Italy, where I'm going to be getting a ferry across to Greece.
As history would have it, I've not had much luck driving in Italy, and things were not about to get any better on this next leg, but more of that in part 2.